In this interview post, we're continuing with the mind, being, spirit, and physical body trinity. In the previous interview post, we mentioned how the creators of this trinity, and so this physical existence, wanted to ensure that this trinity relationship, this trinity separation, is maintained by each one of us individually in ensuring that we remain separate from our beingness, awareness, from the physical body, from this physical existence, and that we maintain our beingness or awareness relationship to consciousness, the mind, the systematized representation of ourselves. And then in that separate relationship between our awareness and the mind, our separation from our own beingness and the physical body, the heavens elite could control and maintain and manage our relationships and ensure that the relationships are pre-programmed to resource as much potential or as much energy as possible from this trinity separation. As we've explained, the mind or consciousness resource energy from substance, which is existent within our very beingness and the physical body. So obviously within this, the creators of existence did not want us to have the all-seeing eye, if you will, in terms of seeing what was really going on in this trinity separation, what our beingness was really being used for, what our physicals were really being used for, what this physical existence was really being used for in its relationship to the unified consciousness field or the global mind, in simply holding each human being on a pre-programmed life design path, humanity interconnected through the unconscious, channeling, distributing, deflecting consequence and karma for one purpose only, in the resourcing of energy, emotional and feeling energy. Within this, we, in the previous interview, had a look at the question in terms of, what it is that is existent within and as the very substance of our beingness, of the physical body, that the heaven existence did not want us to have access to, because it is most certainly a power source, if you will, our beingness substance, the physical body of substance, because what was being resourced from it was the power source of energy. Now, within this, energy was presumed to be the power within existence. And this one can also have a listen to in the Cryon interview series, with how Cryon was involved with the creators of existence in the beginning stages of experimenting with energy's creation and its relationship to substance, and how they experienced energy to be the power within existence, but never kind of putting two and two together in, the basic mathematics of 1 + 1, in realizing that that energy could not exist if it wasn't resourced from its source, which is substance. And that substance as resource was only existent within our beingness, and eventually what became the physical body and this physical existence as a whole. So there was a source, there was a power, there was that substance that from which energy was created. So in this relationship, energy is in fact the inferior, because it cannot exist without its relationship to substance, to our beingness, physical body, and this physical existence as a whole. And because substance of our beingness and the interdimensional, dimensional existence was not investigated, was not explored, was not stood equal to and one with, it was never understood with regards to the full, absolute, complete measure of its existence. And because of that separation from the substance, the relationship between energy and substance was not understood. And so therefore energy was regarded to be the power within existence, when it was actually the reverse. Substance was, because none of us would have existed if it wasn't for our inherent source as substance itself. But one can have a listen to more this relationship to substance and energy, how it came about and how it eventually evolved into the mind and consciousness and Trinity separation, in the mind, being, spirit, and physical body Trinity within the Atlantean, Cryon, Reptilian, and as well as the Secret History of the Universe interview series. But here, what we want to focus on is the following: that already within the beginning of existence, substance itself, our beingness, now the physical body, this physical existence, was never really understood or stood equal to and one with in any way, in the sense that energy can cease to exist, but substance itself will remain. And therefore, in that, prove that one do not need energy, the emotional and feeling energy, to really, in fact, exist. This particular relationship equation of how it is that we have come to believe that if we do not experience emotions and feelings, we're zombies, or we don't live, or we don't exist. And one can have a listen to the interview series I mentioned, and one will find there that beings in the beginning of existence, this was before energy materialized or emerged or was created, they existed. I mean, you can have a look now as well. For example, you have the ability to direct your relationship to energy. And if you become overwhelmed by emotions or feelings, you can breathe, you can make an aware, directive decision within yourself to stop the participation within the energy experience, and stabilize yourself within it. And then what happens is, fascinatingly enough, you're still here, you're still breathing, you're still aware, and within this, in the Desteni process, what we're showing you is, for example, in relation to emotions and feelings, is that what is existent within and behind them, that we have separated ourselves from, is our beingness expression, is who we are in the real, living expression of ourselves that is physically visible. And this is particularly a new series that the Atlanteans are walking in, very specifically explaining how energies are created, the emotional and feeling energies, what they are, what are their consequences in your mind, self, and physical body relationship, and what are the beingness substance expressions, the real physical living expression of ourselves that we have separated ourselves from, and projected into a systematized version, which is an emotion or a feeling. And as we've said, the mind is a systematized version of ourselves. And so therefore, within, for example, emotions and feelings, it is systematized representations of our inherent expressions, of our living, of our real who we are, if you will. And, you know, so many as well often misunderstand destiny in relation to when we communicate about emotions and feelings, and not considering that step that we're showing of that it's not about not feeling or, not expressing. You change your emotional and feeling reactions to self-expressions, which is your living expression of who you are in a moment. Like, for example, where one would, in a moment of interaction with another human being, where one would have tended to go into an overwhelming experience of anger, or taking it personally, where we're showing you that instead of accepting and allowing yourself to go into that anger emotion or reaction in your mind, in your imaginations or your back chat, you stabilize yourself in breathing, and then you become the living expression of and as the word stability, and you are absolutely calm and stable and here. And one can then, within that stability, the expression, the living expression of stability, where, nothing within you moves in terms of a negative reaction of the creation of emotions, for example, one can see with clarity a lot more, for example, where the other human beings come from, what are they saying, what are they trying to convey, why are they so reactive, and one can, in that calm, that expression of stability as oneself, direct the situation into a point of what would be best for both, and so best for yourself. Knowing where, if both are in absolute mind reactions, what consequence can come from that. So this is also another point that we will be expanding on within interview posts to come, just to really clarify and understand how emotions and feelings are systematized, separate representations of expressions of our beingness, of our physicals, of our living, that we have separated ourselves from and of. And how to, through emotions and feelings, establish that lost expression, that lost part of ourselves that would have been our natural living presence. So within this, just expanding on energy, emotions, and feelings, and that relationship of separation as well. And within this, another point that we also mentioned in the previous post was it being interesting that we never considered questioning why and how it is that we have a conscious, a subconscious, a unconscious, a quantum mind, a quantum physical, and then a relationship to the physical body. These are the levels, the dimensions of separation that at the moment exist within our mind, being, spirit, and physical body trinity. And here comes in the explanation that we have walked in relation to self-consequence, where throughout our reincarnations within this physical existence, the one point, as we'd mentioned, that was not programmed was our inherent nature, was our beingness nature. So that of our beingness nature that has always been existing throughout our lifetimes, it's what had come to constitute our quantum physical. Our quantum physical, which is also referred to as the physical mind, is the platform is like the roots of our inherent beingness nature, that had been systematized and now exists as consciousness roots, in terms of information, energy, patterns, acceptances, allowances, experiences, definitions, that form a platform within the depths of the physical body, in the depths of our beingness. That is the physical mind, that from the physical mind will then quantify into becoming the quantum mind being where that of our inherent nature within our beingness that's been existent throughout lifetimes, where that of our inherent beingness that is platformed and rooted within the physical mind then kind of emerges and specifies itself. It defines itself. It constitutes itself into very particular specific patterns, programs, systems, constructs. It's like one can say the physical mind or the quantum mind is a pool of information, of symbols, of experiences, of resonances, of presences that had come to define the total constitution of our inherent nature, of our beingness. Then the quantum mind is that which like kind of sorts and categorizes and organizes all of that presences, experiences, resonances, movements that define our inherent beingness, and structures it into very particular specific programs, constructs, systems. So the quantum mind is that which likes organize and categorize your unconscious, subconscious, and conscious mind. Then from your quantum mind, the quantum mind will accordingly file and store and layer all of that information into your conscious, subconscious, and unconscious mind, which will become the primary system that you use then to create your personalities from, your particular thought patterns, your backchat patterns, your emotional and feeling bodies, your imaginations, your relationships to your thoughts, to your memories, to your backchats, to your emotional feeling bodies, and also then your behavioral patterns. So it's like a really fascinating emergence that manifests in how our inherent beingness, our very beingness actually, is systematized into a mind, into a consciousness, into a perfect system, if you will. So it's really cool in a way, seeing it. Well, the mind is in itself not so cool, but it's really quite cool seeing how it interdimensionally physically look like, all this whole pool of information, as your inherent beingness rooted as the physical mind or the quantum physical. It's like how this information come up out from that very pool of information and defines itself and specifies itself into the quantum mind, into programs, constructs, systems, designs, and how it then from there is filed, stored, layered, and located into the conscious, subconscious, and unconscious mind. And, from there, all of your inherent beingness, your very beingness, is essentially systematized. And the depths of where what you experience in your conscious, subconscious, and unconscious mind, in fact, comes from. So with Desteni, we're really busy walking a multidimensional process. Essentially walking all minds at the same time, conscious, subconscious, unconscious, quantum mind, quantum physical, that is walked through the processes of writing, self-forgiveness, self-commitments, that self-corrective application that one do. Once you've written the commitments and you actually change yourself from the commitments that you've walked, that change is where you're moving yourself through your mind into your beingness awareness and into actual quantum physical correction. And I mean, we've got all the series and courses available on EQAFE and the Desteni process that assist and support with walking structurally, practically through the mind, back into one's beingness awareness, into one's natural beingness expression, into actual real physical living, back to one's real source, which is substance, one's beingness and the physical. Right, in the next interview post, we'll continue more with an interesting analogy, and that is having a look at how our minds have essentially become these factories that are, resourcing from our physical body and essentially producing energy, and in that process, how we're polluting our minds, our physical bodies, when what we should have become in our beingness, in our presence, in who we are in relationship to the physical body, is a tree, a beingness that have grown as a tree, that has rooted itself into the physical body, that exists in an equilibrium, in an equal and one relationship with the physical body, with our beingness as ourselves, and so contributed to the greater environment, which is just physical existence as a whole. But instead, what we've done is we have created pollution, and how our within and without reflect and mirror what it is that we've become in our minds. Right, thank you very much.